My mother had always been the foundation of our home. She was the one who kept everything running smoothly, from ensuring our meals were prepared on time to making sure we always had clean clothes to wear. Despite her busy schedule, she always found time to be there for me. Her presence was comforting and reassuring, like a constant beacon of support. Little did I know, one event would shake that foundation and change the dynamics of our relationship forever. It all started on a warm summer evening. I was sitting in the living room, my phone buzzing with notifications from my friends. As a teenager, my social life revolved around my phone. Text messages, social media, and group chats were my main forms of communication. I was deep into a conversation with my best friend Sarah, discussing plans for the upcoming weekend. Mom was in the kitchen preparing dinner. The aroma of her famous spaghetti sauce filled the house, making my stomach growl in anticipation. I glanced up and saw her stirring the pot, a serene look on her face. It was a typical scene, one that played out countless times in our home. But tonight, something felt different. As dinner was being prepared, I received a particularly amusing message from Sarah. I chuckled and quickly typed out a witty response. My fingers flew over the keyboard, the conversation engrossing me. I was so absorbed that I didn't notice my mother glancing over at me from the kitchen. Her eyes lingered on my phone for a moment longer than usual before she turned back to her cooking. After dinner, I retreated to my room, as was my usual routine. I had a lot of homework to catch up on, but I couldn't resist checking my phone every few minutes. Messages from Sarah and other friends kept pouring in. It was a lively chat, filled with jokes, memes, and discussions about our favorite TV shows. I was happy and content, completely unaware of the storm brewing just outside my door. Later that night, I went to bed, leaving my phone charging on my nightstand. I fell asleep quickly, exhausted from the day's activities. Little did I know my mother had other plans for the night. I woke up suddenly in the middle of the night, feeling thirsty. As I groggily made my way to the kitchen for a glass of water, I noticed a faint light coming from the living room. Curious, I walked quietly toward the source of the light. To my shock, I found my mother sitting on the couch, her face illuminated by the glow of my phone screen. She was reading my messages. A mix of emotions flooded my mind: anger, betrayal, and confusion. I stood there, frozen, unsure of how to react. My mother, so engrossed in the contents of my phone, hadn't noticed my presence yet. I took a deep breath and decided to confront her. "Mom?" I called out, my voice trembling slightly. She jumped, nearly dropping the phone. Her eyes widened in surprise, and guilt washed over her face. "Oh, honey, I didn't see you there." "What are you doing with my phone?" I asked, my voice firmer now. She hesitated, struggling to find the right words. I was worried about you. You've been spending so much time on your phone lately, and I wanted to make sure you were okay." By reading my messages, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "That's an invasion of my privacy, Mom." Tears welled up in her eyes as she handed the phone back to me. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I didn't mean to invade your privacy. I've been concerned. You're growing up so fast, and I feel like I'm losing touch with you." Her words hit me hard. I hadn't realized how much my constant use of the phone had affected her. I felt a pang of guilt, but I was still angry. "You should have talked to me, Mom, not snooped through my phone." "I know," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry. I just didn't know how to approach you." I sighed, my anger slowly dissipating. "Let's talk now, then." We sat down on the couch, and I explained how important my friends were to me and how my phone was a way for me to stay connected with them. I also promised to be more open with her and to make more time for family. In return, she promised to respect my privacy and trust me more. It was a difficult conversation, but it brought us closer together. Over the next few weeks, we worked on rebuilding the trust that had been broken. It wasn't easy, but we were determined to make it work. Our relationship changed after that night. We were more open with each other, and I made an effort to spend more quality time with my family. My mother, in turn, learned to trust me more and respected my need for privacy. It was a hard lesson, but one that ultimately strengthened our bond. Looking back, I realized that my mother's actions, though misguided, came from a place of love and concern. She wanted to protect me and ensure that I was safe. And in the end, we both learned the importance of communication and trust in a relationship. As I grew older, I carried these lessons with me. They shaped my understanding of relationships and helped me navigate the complexities of trust and privacy. And no matter where life took me, I always remembered that night and the conversation that changed everything. Years later, as I sat at my desk in my own home, I thought back to that summer evening. I had just returned from a long day at work, my mind buzzing with thoughts of deadlines and meetings. My phone buzzed with a notification, and I glanced at it, a smile spreading across my face. It was a message from my mom. "Just wanted to let you know I'm thinking of you. Love you, sweetheart." I typed out a quick response, my heart warm with affection. "Love you too, Mom. Thanks for always being there for me." As I set my phone down, I reflected on how far we had come. Our relationship had grown stronger over the years, built on a foundation of trust and understanding. And no matter what challenges life threw our way, I knew we could face them together. Because in the end, it wasn't just about the phone or the messages. It was about the bond between a mother and her child, a bond that could withstand even the toughest of trials. And for that, I was eternally grateful. One evening, after dinner, my mother and I sat in the living room reminiscing about the past. The memory of that night came up, and we both laughed, a sense of nostalgia washing over us. "Do you remember how angry you were?" my mom said, chuckling. "I thought you'd never forgive me." I smiled, shaking my head. I was so mad. But it was a wake-up call for both of us, wasn't it? "It was," she agreed. "I learned a lot from that experience, about respecting your privacy and about trusting you to make the right decisions. And I learned about the importance of communication," I added. "We've come a long way since then." We sat in comfortable silence for a while, the sound of the clock ticking softly in the background. The bond we had forged over the years was stronger than ever, built on a foundation of mutual respect and love. As the evening wore on, I felt a sense of contentment. Life had its ups and downs, but the lessons we had learned and the bond we had created were constants I could always rely on. No matter what the future held, I knew we would face it together, just as we had faced that summer evening so many years ago. And in that moment, I realized that the true treasure in life wasn't material possessions or digital connections. It was the relationships we built, the trust we nurtured, and the love we shared. Those were the things that truly mattered, the things that would endure long after the last message had been sent and the final game had been played. With that thought, I leaned back, savoring the warmth of the moment, knowing that no matter what, my mom and I would always be there for each other. As time passed, our bond only grew stronger. My mom and I faced many challenges together, but we always came out stronger on the other side. We supported each other through thick and thin, and our relationship became a source of strength and comfort for both of us. I graduated from college, started a successful career, and even found the love of my life. Through all these milestones, my mom was there, cheering me on and offering her unwavering support. She became not just my mother, but my confidant and my best friend. One day, as I was sorting through some old belongings, I came across my old phone. It was the same one my mom had looked through all those years ago. I turned it on, and to my surprise, it still worked. As I scrolled through the old messages, I felt a wave of nostalgia wash over me. The messages were a snapshot of my teenage years, filled with the drama and excitement of youth. I smiled as I read through the conversations with my friends, remembering the good times and the challenges we had faced together. But more than anything, I was reminded of the journey my mom and I had been on. I decided to surprise her with a visit. I drove to her house, the familiar route bringing back countless memories. When I arrived, she greeted me with a warm hug, her eyes lighting up with joy. "I found something you might want to see," I said, handing her the old phone. She looked at it, a mixture of surprise and nostalgia on her face. "I can't believe you still have this."